Hi everyone, this video is to demonstrate implementing custom SAST-REPORT for PowerShell projects. Myself, Chandrayan Venkatesan, a PowerShell MVP. You can follow me in LinkedIn, Chandrayan V, and I Automate is my YouTube channel. SAST, nothing but a static application security testing, a methodology used in software or infrastructure as a code development. So this helps us to detect any vulnerabilities and also identify a code level flaws. Integrating with CI/CD helps to automate and also to enable continuous feedback loop. And you can achieve regulatory compliance by implementing SAST in your projects. So I do have a PowerShell project, and how can I go ahead and enable SAST? So I need to follow the custom SAST-REPORT process to implement that because PowerShell is not supported language in Gitlab SAST. There are a set of frameworks and languages that are supported wherein I don't see PowerShell one among it. By using custom SAST feature, we can achieve a tailor made secured check. So consider that you have a custom rules or you want to do some specific check that is like being helpful for your organization standard, or it can be a domain specific, a unique security requirement, or your organization follow a coding standard which is not followed by the enterprise level or not followed in any open source platforms. And also you can reduce the false positives by implementing custom SAST or just by implementing SAST. And also custom SAST helps in integrating with in-house tools so that you can try to achieve any custom solutions or any kind of meet your custom requirements. And you can publish the report in GitLab dashboards, or you can put it across in any observability tool which you have it in your organization. So custom SAST helps in many other ways as well. These are all the few highlights which I observed. PSScriptAnalyzer, which is nothing but a PowerShell module, a static code analysis specifically designed for PowerShell. So this helps us to fix the security posture in the code, and it's only native static code analysis. Of course, SemGrep and SonarQube comes with their own extension to assess the PowerShell script or a module, but personally I don't have any experience using it. But using PSScriptAnalyzer, we can improve the code quality, follow the best practices, and also enable fusing the custom rule set. Consider that built-in rules are not sufficient for your project. You can go ahead and write your own custom rule, and you can invoke the script analyzer using your custom rule sets. So now, PSScriptAnalyzer, we can use that as our GitLab custom SAST-REPORT engine. So it's as a component that runs and emits a report for us that helps developer to look into the vulnerability, code flaw, best practices, or improve the security features, improve the security postures, or try to fix any kind of a severity vulnerability, be it a critical, low, high, medium, or whatever it is. It's up to us how do we customize our rules and how do we write our rule, or how do we integrate with our CI/CD. It completely depends on our project requirement. But in a nutshell, we develop a PowerShell script to invoke a script analyzer and format the script analyzer output to meet the GitLab SAST report schema. So what's that? I'll show the schema in short. Before that, we need to understand what is GL-SAST-REPORT.JSON. It's nothing but just a file where I go and store my vulnerability or my script analyzer output results as a JSON format, and I follow a specific schema provided by GitLab. And we integrate this with CI/CD so that I can automate it and I can break the build if in case any critical issues been identified, or I can take any custom actions. That's the base requirement. What you see here now is the schema for the SAST report. All I need to ensure is I have a version, scan, vulnerabilities keys, and analyzer key. Over here, vulnerability is array of object where you should have a set of ID, name, severity, and locations and stuff. You can go ahead and give any custom names and give the value that gives a meaningful report for you, and developers can read and understand what to be fixed and where exactly the vulnerability been identified. So you can go ahead and give the severity as required, but it should meet the schema. So that means the severity will accept only the allowed values, and also make sure that you meet the GL-SAST report schema when you're emitting the output or when you're storing the output. It's not only for the PowerShell. Any domain specific knowledge or any any other scripting languages which is not supported by GitLab, you need to make sure you output your SAST report in the specific using the specific schema. That's very important. I've given the documentation link for this. You can make use of that. Now that what I want to do is to implement the solution, I use the PSScriptAnalyzer module as a custom SAST analyzer and generate an output. And I name the file GL-SAST-REPORT.JSON. I don't want to rename it because that's the standard we need to follow. And then invoke the script analyzer through CI/CD and publish the vulnerability report. How do I do that? We can simply use the artifact and reports to publish the GL-SAST-REPORT.JSON. Let me show you how the output looks like. So in the pipeline tab, I can just go and open the security, and you see the results over there. It has a severity, vulnerability, identifier. The identifier is nothing but the PSScriptAnalyzer rule name, and the tool is SAST. Yes, of course, I made the vendor as Microsoft to show you or highlight that I'm using the custom rules or a custom SAST here to identify the vulnerability and publish the report. Similar to the pipeline tab, I can also see the same result in the vulnerability report. So that shows critical issues, low, and info. I don't have any high, medium, and unknown. That's why I can see 0 in it. Now, let's quickly get into the demo and see how this works. This is my code base. If you're familiar with PowerShell, you know that line number 2 is really dangerous, or vulnerable, where I'm using a super secret, a password, and converting the clear text password to a secure string. It's just for a demonstration purposes. Okay, so when I go ahead and run the script analyzer against it, I do get a set of results that shows the severity, a rule name, script file name, and which line the issue has been occurred, and also a message that helps developer to fix it. Let's try to run it locally. Let me zoom in, and I think I should be having the code. Yes, so I'm running a git child item command on the root project root folder, and I'm excluding the test.ps1 because this is the file which I use. This is a script file which I use to invoke the script analyzer and store the output in a desired format. Okay, so now run this. I go get a result which gives me a error because I'm using a convert to secure string with a plain text, and I use a write host which gives me the warning. That's okay. And I have an information here that says like I do have a trailing white space in script.ps1 line number 5. So if I go to script.ps1, I do have two files, script and script1.ps1. I'm getting all the ps1 extensions and excluding only test.ps1. That's why I can see results from both the files. So I want to suppress the information. What I do here is I remove the trailing white space, go back to my console host, rerun this command, and now I don't see this information occurring in the second execution. That's good. So now that I want to get rid of this 2 error message, but for demonstration purpose, I just keep it as it is. Let me go ahead and give the trailing white space, and I want to run this in the CI/CD pipeline and publish the report. So how do I do that? I have a test.ps1 file. So this is the file which does the magic. I'm installing the PSScriptAnalyzer under the current user scope so that when I run it in the pipeline, I get this module installed and then it runs the invoke script analyzer command. And what I do here is I loop through to identify how many vulnerabilities has been captured, and I form the PS custom object and convert it into JSON. The severity what I get as part of the invoke script analyzer doesn't match with the GitLab SAST report schema because it accepts critical as severity, not error. So I'm transforming error as critical, warning as low, information as info. That's the only change I have done. Apart from that, I just go ahead and pass on the value dynamically to the PS custom object, and then I form the JSON result as per the GL-SAST-REPORT.JSON schema. That's what exactly I did. As I said, vulnerability is the collection of object. I need to make sure I get it in the collection object and then put it on the vulnerabilities keys so that I get the desired output. So in line number 72, I'm just converting it to JSON and storing the result in the GL-SAST-REPORT.JSON file. And this file will be published as a report. How do I do that? I'm using that script in the YAML file. So if you look into this, I have a stage called PS_SAST. I need to give a SAST as a suffix either with underscore or with dash. I prefer to use it in underscore, and I'm calling the PowerShell core and invoking the test.ps1 file, which will emit a GL-SAST-REPORT.JSON. So in GitLab, I use artifacts, reports, and SAST. Similar to SAST, you do have other keys like you can publish coverage report or container scanning results or DAST. So for our demonstration purpose, I'm going to use SAST. And this is optional. This allows to download the JSON file as an artifact. So this is to publish the result, to look into a fancy HTML, and this is to download the artifact as a JSON itself. Now let me go ahead and commit and push the latest code. Latest code push for demo. Perfect. Commit and push this. And now this runs the pipeline. Yes, the pipeline is triggered. So until we get the security report, we don't see the tab, security tab over here. Right? So we have got pipeline, needs, jobs, and tests, right? So we don't see the security tab. Let's wait for the pipeline execution to complete. This takes a minute or two. Perfect. Now that you can see the job is completed, and also we see a security tab. So now I click the security tab to access the result. I see critical, 2 low, and 1 info, right? Let's open up the console host and see if the results are same. So I can see 1 error, 2 warnings, and 1 information. So that is 1 critical, 2 low, and info. As I said, the severity we get as part of the invoke script analyzer output doesn't match with the schema of SAST JSON. So I'm transforming error to critical, warning to low, and information as info, right? So that's the accepted values for severity. And the vulnerability name is nothing but the rule name in script analyzer output. So this is the rule name. Excellent. So if I click on this rule name, I get the values. So this helps me to understand in which file and which line number I've got an error. So this is just a custom made script. I manipulated it, so it helps developers to go ahead and open up the file and get onto the particular line to check the error. And the identifier over here is nothing but a rule name again. So these values are coming up from this particular JSON file. So I open up the test.ps1 and show you. Over here, I do have the identifiers and I have the vulnerability rule name. And I'm passing some unique values here just to make sure I get all the vulnerability reports published in GitLab. So that's going to be a single source of truth where I click open, see the error, and then fix that. If I feel this error is not going to harm my project, I can safely go ahead and dismiss the vulnerability, and I can open up a reason stating this is not applicable and confirm dismissal. So what happens now? I don't see that error message. But if I see any error that needs a ticket to track, I can go ahead and create a ticket by clicking create issue. So that helps me to track and also to assign to a specific person to fix the error messages. Right? So now what I do is I'll quickly go ahead and fix the vulnerability. Like I remove this, and also, okay, let me go ahead and comment all this code and write get date, and in script 1 I have write host, so I should see only information or a warning. Let's see what will be my output. I've got only one warning in script 1 file, and that's in line number 2. So if I go to script 1 file and line number 2, I'm using the write host command. So it says like using a write host, we should avoid it because it might not work in all hosts. So that's the reason for that. You can try using write information commandlet. So that's recommended by Microsoft PowerShell team. Okay, but that's okay. For now, for the demonstration purpose, I'm going to use the write host, and also I give a trailing white space in line number 2. So if I run it, I get two different vulnerability. That is one information and one warning. Excellent. So let me go ahead and push this code. So what I say here is a comment, remove critical error. So I go ahead and commit and push the code. So this will again trigger the pipeline. And while this is running, I'll quickly show you the other blade where, secure blade, where you can see the vulnerability report. So you can go to the project secure vulnerability report. So what happens, this goes and pulls out the results here. For some reason, or I don't know, it's a technical outage, I see error fetching the vulnerability list, but most of the time you can see the results here as well. Why do I see 15 low and 8 critical here? Because it's for all the pipeline execution. It is aggregated results is what I see here. This is not for the current execution. For the current execution, you can see the pipeline ID. If you click over here, you can navigate to the pipeline ID. So this is a previous execution. If I open the pipelines, you can see the latest execution report. So that ends with 046. Now I go to secure vulnerability report. I can see the pipeline ID that ends with 046. All right, so no problem. So altogether I've got 29 development vulnerabilities. So that means it's 22, 6 critical, 16 low, and 7 info. That's for aggregated results. So I open up this pipeline and I go to security. Now I can see low and info. I don't see any critical. That's because we have fixed that critical. I see only the information as info, warning as low severity. Excellent. I hope that this helps for the developers or infrastructure team who's developing PowerShell script or modules using GitLab. Thanks a lot.